welcome to Final Whistle Weekly. It's a jam-packed episode. We've got the men's game on Saturday, the women's game on Sunday to talk about. We've got also the women playing at the SToK Cae Ras on next Sunday. Also, we'll talk about the financial news coming out of the racecourse, where it turns out, now here's a shock, that we're generating a lot of money. So we'll have a look at that. Who knows, we might even have time to reflect on Mr. Gareth Ainsworth's sudden departure from Shrewbury. I mean, I just want to say, with all sincerity, my heart goes out to those poor Shrewsbury fans. I can't imagine what it must feel like to have a manager claim that he's completely committed to you and then just walk out to a different club. I don't know how that would feel. And so those Shrewsbury fans have my sympathy. Of course, Ainsworth made a big play of how he was there for the long run and was getting into the local area and getting to know it really well, because this was where he was going to make his permanent home. Maybe it's going out into the local area that made him want to leave. Hey, Neil, how are you?
Well, speaking to a Shrewsbury fan today, they were telling me that the buyer who's going to buy the club or take over the club who brought Ainsworth in is no longer going to take over the club, hence why Ainsworth has left. Whether that be true or not, I do not know.
A football manager leaves because he doesn't get given more money. Shocker, is it? And poor old Wycherley, he's 86 now, and he was hoping to finally divest himself of the club, and he's still stuck there, isn't he? I don't know. Does your heart bleed as well, Bill?
Oh, I am so utterly devastated, utterly devastated that we didn't get the rest of the season with Gareth Ainsworth to maybe take them to record point highs or lows or whatever you'd call it. I don't know how far off they would be for a record, because he was clearly doing a sterling job, and it's just such a shame that he couldn't continue it.
Absolutely, yes. A magnificent destroy and exit. You may have noticed, everyone, if you're watching the video, that Bill has moved into a new studio, which is all very impressive. You've moved into a haunted house, haven't you, I believe?
Yeah, I've got about 2 years, I reckon, with a montage in between that somewhere, obviously, as happens in these sort of films, to try and figure out what happens before I manage to save my family, but the ghost inevitably gets me. So enjoy the next year while I'm still here, guys.
Well, when we move in here, obviously it's haunted, but I paid extra for the Scooby-Doo insurance, so you're totally safe as long as you don't creep a tiptoe in a straight line down a corridor, and then the person at the end will inevitably be taken. How about you, Neil? Were you going to get it if it wasn't for those pesky kids?
Oh, we have Ghostbuster insurance over here, so we're all right, guys. So you must look it up. I mean, there must be a Shropshire thing. Even though we lack electricity, Bill.
Yeah.
Taking a leaf out of Mark's book, yeah. We do have some good insurance to you guys over there in Wales.
Oh, fair enough. And to think they only stopped rationing last week. So I think I've insulted these guys enough. Let's move on. This, my friends, is Final Whistle Weekly. Stockport, we won. That's a good thing. Discuss.
I've missed the game of the season by the sounds of it. I was moving, as Mark alluded to earlier, I was moving house, and the only day we could get removal vans was that day, unfortunately. I was a little bit disappointed, but weirdly, of all the fixtures that we've had over the last year or last couple of years, we played Stockport a lot. So there was a part of me that was a little bit like, I'm not actually really bothered about missing this compared to, say, I don't know, playing Charlton or Lincoln or someone we haven't played for a while, or a long time in Charlton's case, other than the away match. But it sounds like I missed an absolute cracker, didn't I, Neil?
It was a good game to watch. I think Stockport were very, very good, but final third, they couldn't create anything. But Wrexham seem to be grinding out these 1-0 results at the moment, which is keeping them near the top of the table and on course for automatic promotion. Couple of talking points during the game, Mark, wasn't there, with regards to penalty shouts and the referee?
Yeah, bless him. It was, it's nice these, bring your kid to work days, but I don't know if you should let him referee a game of that magnitude. I've got to say, firstly, though, which game are we talking about again? Match of the season. A great game to watch. It was one of the results of the season, but we had to, as you say, ground it out, didn't we? It was a real battle.
Maybe it's being isolated to just social media reaction and seeing all the explosive stuff coming out that and the highlights were pretty good. So I don't know, it's different when you're there and you're watching the game, isn't it, live? So
don't get me wrong, I'm utterly thrilled with it. It's a brilliant performance because we've defended superbly. We've got the goal, as Neil quite rightly said. Stockport didn't make chances, and we did. So even though they had a lot of the ball, I think the better team won. And the other results as well. I mean, Charlton losing too. I mean, that the table looks fantastic at the moment. But yeah, I wouldn't. It wasn't all dancing girls and fireworks. I'll be honest with you. Hey, that feels like a title for the podcast, doesn't it?
That sounds like something Stephanie Booth would endorse.
Don't set me off on another daytime fireworks when Rockin' Robin gets married to Tina Turfit's rant. What's the point in fireworks during the day? None.
A friend of mine was actually Rockin' Robinson. Was the kid that wore the suit to that. So that's my little claim to fame. Shout out to Gez if he's watching.
Can I genuinely thank you, Bill? I've been trying for ages to remember that kid's name. Rockin' Robinson.
Yeah,
that's it.
Which doesn't even make sense because you keep the first name the same and then change the surname, do you? It's the other way around.
They do in Iceland.
Well, that's true. That is true. Yeah,
maybe they've been shopping.
Oh God,
I don't know. Neil's quite right. There was controversy, wasn't there, Neil? The penalty that wasn't, and then the penalty that was, and they came within a couple of minutes of each other. And to me, I've got to be honest, they felt interlinked.
Yeah, I think. Well, the first, the tug on Smith in the box was definitely a penalty when they grabbed hold of his. I wasn't there at the game on behalf of the club, but I was there in the Mold Road stand because I was given a ticket for the Mold Road stands, and we were literally 20, 30 yards away from both incidents. And how the linesman didn't flag for that penalty on Smith in the penalty area when he got pulled down by his arm. Should definitely be a 100% penalty. I mean, we've had penalties given against us this season for far, far less. Second one, looking at the replays, yes, it hit his arm. McLean did push him in the back, which made him throw his arms up the air slightly. But it stopped the ball going into the box. So, and the linesman, I think, were making up for their errors for the first one, which should have been a penalty. But by rights, both were penalties.
I'm inclined to agree. The first one is 100% cast iron, zero debate penalty, isn't it? I mean, he just grabs his arm and pulls him. It's so blatant. I think I agree the second one's a penalty as well. The whole media furore, it feels like it's sort of created itself. You see all the pundits saying, we don't know what handball is anymore. Well, I do agree that, the interpretations, I would argue, being changed to make VAR easier, which is the wrong reason to change the laws of the game. But having said that, I think a lot of the confusion is people saying, oh, we don't know what handball is anymore, and then saying things that aren't handball and deliberately or accidentally confusing matters. For me, I just think the rule says if your arms are out in an unnatural position, and his arms definitely were, and the ball hits you, beyond the sleeve, which it definitely did, it's handball. And the fact that his back's turned and he doesn't know where it is irrelevant. Although I will say, in Touré's defence, you're quite right, Neil. I think if the ref had given a push in the back, I don't think I'd have argued with that. I thought that was a 50-50 call, but he didn't. So it's a penalty. But yeah, there was almost a feeling of making up after the previous one, because the first one was just a penalty. There's just no two ways about it. Is that how you saw them, Bill? Oh, sorry.
I'm going to push back slightly on the foul. I mean, obviously I've only seen the highlights, and it's completely different when you're in person, different angles, closer up, blah blah blah. But he just looked like he was weak defending to me. And so many defenders these days take that risk. Right. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. The first one was definitely a penalty. No question about that. Just like the challenge at Wickham was on Sam Smith was a penalty, and for whatever reason we don't seem to get them off referees, because it's happened with Mullen enough times as well. But that is what it is. Yeah, first one 100% a penalty. Second one, I thought was just weak defending. He's done what a lot of, I think you said it in your final whistle, Mark, where a lot of defenders will take that gamble of going down in the box or reacting to a challenge of some sort, and if it doesn't come off for you, the ball either hits your hand and they get a penalty, or the player's running away with the ball. So weak both physically and tactically. I think he's taken a risk there in flopping around. His arms all the way up here, it's completely in an unnatural position. And pre VAR, when they started messing with all the rules, that would have been a penalty as well, because his arm's up here. It's his arm. I don't.
Yeah.
But I can see why Stockport fans are a little bit aggrieved by it, because we've seen enough of those style of penalties not be given. But I'd have been frustrated as well if that hadn't been given personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, what got me a little bit, why it took so long to make that decision, to be honest, when he had to go to see the linesman and have a chat with him. First of all, I thought it was a corner, because McLean was there ready to take a corner, and then McLean was in the linesman's ear a little bit, but not from a distance. But yeah, and the referee came over and spoke to the linesman, so hence the penalty was then awarded. But and then we have Rodriguez. Well, Smith has the ball in his hands, and he passes on to Rodriguez, and you hear the groan among the fans, a notable groan. And then when he goes and takes that penalty, and guys, it wasn't the best of penalties, was it? To be honest, and fair play to the guy. He got back to the ball and was able to pass it into the back of the net. How he got it in there from that angle, I don't know. And the keeper there, but yeah, luckily he got it and made it 1-0.
Yeah, the crowd reaction I thought wasn't great. Really was. It's not the best way to help one of your team score a penalty to do that. Fair play to him. I thought it was a really good finish, wasn't it? Because I remember watching it at the time and thinking, oh boy, he's not pushed it straight back. He's saved it and pushed it wide. And when Rodriguez got there, he's got a tight angle. The defender's diving across him, as well as the keeper already being in position. And he did really well to make a good contact on the stretch and pull it back. And I'm really glad for him, because, as I've consistently said, I like Rodriguez. I think he's not quite there yet, but you can really see quality in him, I feel. But he needed a goal, I think, just to get things started, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely needed that goal on Saturday, and hopefully, that'll boost his confidence and kick on this coming Saturday when we're away at Exeter. So, yeah, and then again after that, we had an excellent chance to make it 2-0, didn't we? With the crossing, and Rathbone had a free header in the centre of the box, and nailed on. He had an open goal there to head for, and he hit it past the post, which is unlike Rathbone, because he scored some great goals this season for us.
Yeah. I felt with that. I mean, Longman.
Oh, yeah.
Was quieter in terms of having the chance to run up, simply because we weren't able to attack it that much. But that cross was magnificent, and also when I look back, like at my notes for the final whistle, a number of our attacks, the ones that led to something, started off with Longman playing the key forwards pass, dinking it over the top to cause problems. He played the ball end, and him and Dobson were the players who were playing the sort of progressive passes to get Smith in rather than just launching it at him and asking Smith to do something with it on his own. Yeah, he did really. It was a lovely cross. Rathbone has to score, doesn't he? Really, bless him.
Yeah, it was a golden opportunity to make it 2-0 and put the game to bed, to be honest. And then we go on to a bit further in the game where I'm not sure. When Fletcher came on, he was screaming for a penalty as well when he was dragged down in the area by his shirt. So yeah, I've seen the interview from the Stockport manager, and he was saying, about the penalty, they shouldn't have lost the game, and the fair play to a lot of the fans saying that they weren't good enough. Yes, they had possession of the ball, like you've said, Mark, but their quality in front of goal was pretty poor. And to be fair to our defence, they did a sterling job. I mean, I thought O'Connell had a superb game on Saturday. So yeah, our defence at the moment is gone back to where we were 4 or 5 months ago, where we were, opposition attacks struggled to break us down and get past us and put a shot on goal. I think Alconco only had that one big save to make, where he tipped the ball over the bar, which was a superb save.
Yeah, that was the only thing that extended him, wasn't it? And it was a very good save, but I think it might have hit the bar and come back out anyway. So yeah, it's just that one moment of genuine threat. I don't know, Bill. We've kept a lot of clean sheets this season, and even when we make changes to that back three, we still seem to be able to come up with a formula that's really, really strong.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable defensively, aren't we? And considering how high up at times our wing backs can push, we still never look outmatched. I think there are times when I think the way to get at us is to attack really quickly and early in at the start of the first half or the second half. If you can really have a go at us in those couple of minutes while the defenders are sort of setting themselves, you can score. A little bit like we give them a bit of stick earlier, but to be fair, you got to give them credit for this one. Shrewsbury came out and scored in the first 15 minutes, didn't they? At Shrewsbury, and then won a penalty and scored again in the first couple of minutes of the second half. And Reading was quite quick into the second half as well. So if you're going to get anything, you've got to catch us on the when the defenders are a little bit cold to the game still. But other than that, I think if we reach the 30th minute in the first half and then reach the sort of 65th minute in the second half, we're gonna get something out of the game. Does that make sense? I hope I'm sort of like getting my point across there. Really, that once they're settled, they play really well.
It's the Spice Girls tactic, isn't it? If you want to beat O'Connell, you've got to get out. Oh, sorry, okay, fine. I will be honest, I don't know what I was going to say to complete that, except it was going to be excellent. And as well, that incident that Neil mentions, the foul on Fletcher. I mean, he's outside the box, but I just can't get my head around this. It's like the clear penalty. It's a red card. I mean, Fletcher's shoulder to shoulder with Pye. Oh man, what a title for an autobiography. They're running through the middle. There's no one else anywhere near them. He's in the D. He gets pulled down. He still manages to get off a shot. I mean, it's brilliant he managed to strike it like that when he's being hauled to the ground. But officials seem to referee games as if, if you get a shot off, doesn't matter. We'll just ignore everything else. No. He would, denying a goal-scoring opportunity. Well, Fletcher didn't score. It's a red card. End of. I don't understand any other interpretation other than he has to go for that. I don't understand sometimes officials. I don't know, maybe they're scared of controversy, but come on. It's got to go for that.
Yeah, but in other parts of the game, he was quite active book players just for the silliest things, and I mean, Stockport had so many free kicks given to them, I mean, in very dangerous areas, he was giving them free kicks left, right, and centre, like handing out sweets to a kid. He was so biased. In my opinion, he was very biased on the free kicks. I mean, Stockport were getting everything, but yeah, so inconsistent as a referee, Mark. And, one of the worst I think I've seen at the racecourse this season.
I mean, I agree that it's the inconsistency. I felt, I'm saying it in the commentary, that at first he seemed to be letting an awful lot go. First 10 minutes, 15 minutes, there was a lot of very physical stuff, and he was just not giving free kicks. And I said in the commentary, I always feel like, okay, that's all right, as long as you stick to that, as long as that's your
Yeah,
level. But then he suddenly just flipped it completely and started giving free kicks for nothing, yellow cards for nothing. Seven
yeah.
Wrexham players booked, 9 cards in total. And the last time there were that many cards in the Wrexham game was when we lost to Newport last season. And there were 10 cards given, and the referee was the same guy. Coincidence? I don't think
I never
so.
knew that.
It was actually, he actually showed a lot to Newport on that occasion. He gave 6 to them and 3 yellows to us, plus Boyle was sent off early on. But yeah, I mean, he just for me he lost. I don't want to say he necessarily lost control of the game. He lost his judgment and he's all over the place. I think Hill's red card is reasonable,
Yeah,
but well, certainly the way he's reffing where he was giving yellows all the time because he has took his arm out and stopped Rathbone. But well, Rathbone I think knew exactly what he was doing. It was cute. But then, considering the way that the Stockport players were trying to mob him all the time to get cards for our players, that was the thing that irked me. They were really, and it was funny because they drew attention to it because the first time anything happened and they thought it should be a yellow, their captain Bate seemed to be doing the right thing. He pulled them all his teammates away to say, I'll talk to the ref. And I thought, okay, that's a strong captain, fair enough. And he made his point to the ref, and I was like, okay, I can accept that. But then after that, he just led a charge at the referee every time. And I don't understand why people get booked for making the yellow card gesture, but you don't get booked for running up and telling the ref to book somebody. What is so evil about making a gesture with your hand like that when you're saying exactly the same thing? I don't fully understand that. I don't know.
it's two of a kind, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's exactly the same thing, but different ways. Yeah,
It's like a lot of things with refereeing. It's all about image. They're not really bothered about doing the right thing. They just don't want to appear to be not be doing the right thing. So if a player's doing that in their face, it's just the whole stadium can see that happening, can't they?
Yeah.
It's a strange one. You'd have thought as well that I don't want to be too critical because I know a referee's job is difficult, but with no Premier League games on this weekend, you'd have thought they'd have sent someone a bit stronger to the highest level that was on the day. I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, it was a big game, really. I think there seems to be this rivalry now between us and Stockport, but yeah, it was a huge game. Stockport were, they were flying up behind us in the league. So yeah, it was a massive game. I mean, we put 6 points between us with winning that on Saturday. And yeah, like you said, Mark, I thought the referee let a lot go in the first 10, 15 minutes. Then all of a sudden, as you said, I think he lost his head and became irrational.
Yeah, I think that's a spot on. I think, to be honest, my concern, Bill, about you're saying about referees is, that half the time when you see a ref who's really diabolical, you then find that they're being fast tracked up to the Premier League. So watch out for that guy. A few times haven't you thought, well, this guy's not up to it, and then suddenly, ooh, he's on Match of the Day. Okay, so
yeah. And he was refereeing in League Two last year, so he's had a promotion in the sense as well, hasn't he? Strange one. What do you make of that rivalry, guys? It's a funny one, isn't it? I found some of the Stockport reaction incredibly bizarre, if I'm completely honest. There's one particular podcast that I don't want to give them too much airtime, but I found it absolutely hilarious. Listen, how biased. Look, we're going to be seen as biased, and we'll probably have Stockport fans in the comments. So yeah, I know, mental, isn't it? Yeah, you, Mark. Yeah, but some of the comments about all our team being bullies and cheats and obviously didn't see the game, but it seemed like it was quite 50-50 from the reaction. Both teams it was just a physical game, and neither side were particularly bullying or cheating more than the other. And if anything, maybe it was them cheating the amount of times they got away with penalty shouts.
I didn't really see it that way. I thought both sides are able to handle themselves, to be perfectly frank.
Yeah.
We were strong defensively, but that's not bullying, is it really?
No. Does the whole thing feel a bit one-sided to you? And maybe is that because Stockport don't really have a significant rival? Is that fair to say? I don't want to annoy any Stockport fans, 'cause I actually quite like them as a club.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Stockport as well. I mean, I think it maybe does come a bit more from them than us, but as well, to be fair, there's a genuine, proper rivalry from the fact that we have been sort of toe to toe for the last 3 years, pretty much, haven't we?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know that National League season was crazy when we couldn't afford to drop points, and we nearly got there.
And they flew the airplane over the race course, and
Yes, that's true. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Twice.
But they made
not only
that
once, but twice, didn't they?
Eh?
Didn't they do it twice as well? So
Yeah. Well, maybe that illustrates Bill's point. Maybe I can't see us wanting to do that to Stockport, whereas I can see us wanting to do that to Chester if the opportunity arose. So I can see that.
Yeah.
They'd have to get into a playoff, though, in order to facilitate us doing that. So I don't know. Maybe, maybe there's when they end up in a sort of Sunday pub league, maybe that'll be the point where we can rent a plane.
There's a scene in Father Ted when he wins the Golden Cleric and he writes a massive list of all the people that have wronged him.
Yes.
And I feel like our comeback tour has been like an opportunity to cross off all the people that have wronged us, all the fans that have wronged us over the last 15 years. Well, the 15 years we were in the National League. And now, if we do go up, we're coming for Cardiff and Swansea, and they're next on the list, aren't they?
But where are you now, Father Fergus McFarlane? Oh yeah, I love that. That's a beautiful image. My Father Ted image from that episode is that if Chester tries to do it to us, they would end up just being like the priest who's trying to steal the trophy, just one bloke suspended from some ropes. Going across like one of those spider cams across the pitch. Awesome. So we've insulted Shrewsbury, we've insulted Stockport, we've insulted Chester. Anything about Hereford? Anything you want to say about them?
I reckon we keep it at the unholy trinity there. Because unless we want to make this video go viral, we can go after all of them. Tranmere, they're not doing so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Norwich, oh my God, Norwich and us. Couldn't even start.
Having you.
Oh, look at when Neil goes full Delia. Excellent.
One thing, guys, I'd like to say about Saturday is I thought the fans were superb on Saturday. Yeah. Really got behind the team. I thought they were absolutely immense and got us over the finishing line on Saturday. They were superb.
Yeah, and Wickham as well. They were spine tingling. It's fantastic, isn't it? And you see people acting online as if we're not doing well, but in the stadium, that support is really turning up when we need it, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I've got tickets for the Wigan away game as well, which I'm looking forward to.
Decent.
Same here, Neil. I'll have to get you a beer in the concourse if you're not driving.
But I couldn't get Blackpool tickets today, guys.
No.
No.
Bill, did you get any?
I didn't try. I thought the allocation, I didn't really have much of a chance, and I'd already had the Wigan tickets, so I just thought cut my losses and stick with that. I'm
going by donkey. It's appropriate, it's Blackpool and it's Easter.
Oh, they do.
Double donkey.
Yeah,
Mark, I need a picture of you on the beach then on the donkey, mate. When you
Mark, it'd be triple donkey. Come on, because you are the concrete donkey, so it'd be a donkey on a donkey.
No, I don't know which episode title to go for now. Triple donkey or Triple donkey's tempting.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. Just have a picture of Richard Hope on. No, I didn't say no. Sorry if you're watching, Rich. Should we stop it at this point, do you think? And we'll move on and we'll talk about the women's team. ending their winning streak in the most admirable circumstances with a really good draw at Briton Ferry. Right, so 7 wins in a row, equaling our second best ever run of wins of the women's team. That ended last Sunday, but honourably in a 2-2 draw at Briton Ferry, who were in second place, and we're still in with a good shot of getting second place for ourselves, which is kind of mind-blowing. We retained third place because TNS somehow managed to concede 3 goals in 4 minutes from the 89th minute against Cardiff and turn a 2-0 lead into a 3-2 loss. So next Sunday, at the SToK Cae Ras, when Briton Ferry come back across to play us, is going to be a hell of an occasion and a chance for us to really put our second place credentials on the table with TNS playing away to Cardiff. They could win the league, by the way, Cardiff. They will with a win, or if we take any points off Briton Ferry. But, I mean, again, another excellent performance from a team that are absolutely on fire.
As you said, Mark, they've been on fire for the last 7 or 8 games, haven't they? They're putting some superb performances. As I said to you off earlier, I haven't really had a chance to look at the highlights of the game from last Sunday, but I just saw the 2-2 result. You'll have to talk us through how the game went ahead, Mark.
Well, basically, Briton Ferry, and I emphasise, I'm not saying this pejoratively, I actually quite like this. They're a long ball, very direct team. And I quite enjoy watching teams like that and seeing if we can find the way to work them out. And games like that tend to go into phases where one side imposes their style on the other. And that's exactly what happened. We started, first 10 minutes, we were sensational, but we didn't score, which has been unusual in our recent run. We looked wonderful, and Briton Ferry just couldn't get out their penalty area, but we didn't score. And then they broke up the other end and won a penalty and scored. And after that, for half an hour, the game was played on their terms. They just knock long balls. They fight for everything. They're very, very physical. They battle in your half. We couldn't get anything going. But then suddenly it clicked, and we scored 2 goals in, 69 seconds? It was crazy. It was unbelievable. Just bang, bang. And after those, Ava Suckley is now a top scorer in the division. She scored the second, I can't even remember. And Abby Iddendon scored the other and set up Suckley. She's now got the most assists in the division. Not a bad front two. And we looked like then in the last 5 minutes of the first half we were going to score again and really take control. But the second half, to be fair, they came back into it. It was another scrappy affair. They got the goal. Lizzie Craven very unlucky because she made a magnificent save and they scored the rebound. But she was good. I mean, certain players have to be good to stand up to that sort of team. She was good. She was looking to attack the ball in the box. She made some good stops. The centre-backs were excellent, standing up to the physical challenge. And ultimately, I think the key thing to take away from it is that at the start of the season, we went there, we were utterly overwhelmed, and we lost 3-0, and it was a fair reflection of how the game went. We're a different team now. We've gone there, and they have really given us a bit of a bruising, and we've stood up to it and haven't backed down. In the last half hour, they started getting a bit naughty off the ball, and I can tell you that Cardiff were a bit unhappy when they went there at the start of phase 2 for that sort of stuff, and it happened again. But we kept our heads, we didn't back down, and unlike Stockport, we didn't allow our opposition to bully us. So. The race course, I mean, their ground is tight. It's a heck of a slope from one side to the other as well. It's a good pitch for playing that sort of footy. The race course is a different kettle of fish, and hopefully with the extra space, we can get that ball down, move it around. They can't get close to us, and hopefully we'll be able to impose ourselves. But it'll be a cracking game because I got a lot of respect for Briton Ferry, even if they do cut up a bit rough sometimes.
Yeah, plan to go ahead that game on Sunday, Bill?
I am unfortunately not. I was really, really tempted. I might see if I can still even just go and slink for the first half, but we've already got Mother's Day plans, so unfortunate really that it's landed on that day. But I think if you've not if you I'm sort of in a position where it's only going to be my second Mother's Day, so it's a bit of a precious one for us. But if the kids are a bit older, it's a good excuse to get the family going down together as a Mother's Day sort of treat. I think it might be a perfect day for some people. So yeah, I still might go and see if I can watch the first half before we go where we're going. So how about you, Neil? You're going to head up?
No, unfortunately, I'm heading down to Cornwall
Oh, okay, fair enough.
on Sunday.
Cut that.
Yeah, there's great, isn't it? It'll be good, and it'll be a hell of an atmosphere as well. And I really, again, we seem to have to, as clubs, not just Wrexham, we seem to have to do all the publicity for the Adran Premier ourselves. But it'll be, to use the cliche, a good advert for the league, I think, to see that game going on. And Briton Ferry, like I said, have been sensational this year. The way they've hit the division straight from being promoted. And like I said, there was a point when it was 2-2 at the end. And like I said, Cardiff were losing until the last minute 2-0 and then turned it all round in added time. So there was a point where you thought, okay, Cardiff had dropped another 3 points. If there's a winner in this match, if Briton Ferry got a winner, they'd be right up behind Cardiff. Their last game is away to Cardiff. Could they do a Wrexham? And if we got a winner, you almost started thinking, hang on, how many points behind Cardiff are we here? They've still got to come to ours. But of course, there wasn't a winner, and then Cardiff did turn it round, and they'll win it, I suspect, on Sunday. But it's been a hell of a season in the Adran Premier, and it's still fascinating. So yeah, I see. Unless you're, Neil or Bill, and you just have I strongly urge you to turn up and get to that game.
I would love to go. I would love to go. It's a bit out of my hands, this one though. What my free time is going to be like.
Oh, look at that! Siri on my watch just asked you to say that again. I think it's so we got a clean cut so that we can use it in evidence against you in the future. Unless you are Bill O'Neill, get yourself down to the SToK Cae Ras on Sunday, a team that averages 3 goals a game. What's there not to love? Get down there, and I promise you, you'll enjoy it. Briton Ferry's top scorer, who's one of the top scorers in the division, by the way, didn't play on Saturday, even off the bench when they were chasing the winner, apparently because she'd have been suspended for the racecourse if she'd got booked in that match. So, interesting one. Let's see how it goes. But anyway, after this, let's talk about money, baby. Right, we're in the money. I think we knew that already, but the figures that were put out this week about the club's finances, which will be published next week, certainly give an indication of the different ball game that we're in right now. It's jaw-dropping, isn't it, really, when you think about it? £26.7 million turnover. That's a hell of an apple pie.
Yeah, the amount of sponsorship that's coming into the club, Mark, is huge in it for our division from what we've seen in the figures and the actual sales in America, and it's just phenomenal. Not just America, but for the rest of the world, the sales is just phenomenal for a small club in North Wales. 3 years ago, nobody knew who we were.
13.2 million in sponsorship and similar investment. Wow, that feels like a lot to me.
It's a big jump away from the Christmas raffle, isn't it? No disrespect to all the very hard-working volunteers who used to do that, but we're in a completely. It's almost like we're playing a completely different game now, isn't it, Neil?
Totally, yeah. As you said, the Christmas raffle used to be the main earner for the for the WST during the year, and they had some fantastic prizes. But yeah, it's blown it out of the ballpark, isn't it? I mean, this is a club that's got fans all over the world now. That has sponsors, world sponsors, want to jump on into the club. We've got this new stand going up starting the season. I'm sure there's massive sponsor going to be in line to sponsor that stand as well. So it's still, it blows my mind to think where this club is now. 3 years on, and yeah, I'd have been happy staying in League Two. I'd have been happy staying in League One for another season. But the way things are going, and as you see, the market's exploded with fans and merchandise, and it's just going from strength to strength each year, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, exactly. And you got a strong point there saying about the COP, because redeveloping these stands is a possibility for us to bring in money, which I can't remember where I heard it, but there was a guy who works in football marketing on a podcast I listened to about a month ago, talking about how stadium naming and stand naming is like the best type of sponsorship, because it really is money for nothing. That stand will be there anyway. All you got to do is put a sign up, and money comes pouring in from it. And it's so you're quite right. That's quite a nice one to have. I'd say something which was sort of trailed as surprising, but I found it the opposite. Listen, more revenues come in from overseas than the UK. I don't find that surprising. I find it surprising that the gap is only, 52% revenue from overseas and 47.5% from the UK. I thought it'd be a much bigger gap than that in favour of overseas money. I suppose, the club shop, all the receipts from coming to a match are from Britain. So I maybe I'm being a bit naive, but
yeah.
I mean that gap will grow as long as the business plan works. I would assume.
What are your thoughts, Bill?
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd not really thought about that, Mark, but the way you put it, United are an American company. SToK Cae Ras, are they an American company? Is that how? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's Danone, isn't it? But are they based in the US? So is that included in that percentage, or was that revenue just from?
That's just all revenue.
Yeah, so they're straight away the 50% is going to a big, massive chunk of that is going to be those two sponsorship deals, isn't it? Really?
That's true. Yeah.
And then you got Fort Wall as well, guys.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm even more confused. But I'll tell you what.
Well, actually, in a way, I'm surprised that 47% is from the UK if you class that revenue stream as being international, just because obviously match day tickets still play a big part, and then, like you say, maybe the receipts for shirts and stuff, even if they're shipped to the US, are based from generating money here. So either way, I don't really care too much because it means we just get winning football. So I'm just happy to. It wouldn't matter to me if the money was coming from North Korea. Oh no, I didn't say that. Don't take me off YouTube.
I mean, the thing is, isn't it, though, that the real growth area is internationally, where the potential growth is unlimited, really. Whereas I think there has to be some limit to growth within Britain. We can draw more people from traditional sort of Wrexham hinterlands. We can maybe, as we get bigger, draw people in. The sort of new phenomenon of fans who have a Premier League team but doesn't really link them geographically to it within Britain. But I'd have thought internationally is where the real growth is. And I've got to say as well, and Neil, I want you to screw your business head on now. There are elements of these figures which people, if they wanted to, could try and put a negative spin on, but I think they're very positive. The wages have nearly doubled, 6.91 million last year, 11 million this financial year. The debt's gone down from 5.1 to 2.7 million. The turnover up 155%. Within this, £15 million in loans paid back to the owners tells me that this is a growing business. It's not a bad thing to have debt as long as because you need to spend money to accumulate money in the future. To me, these sound like very promising figures. Plus, that wage jump just shows that we've got scope to grow, and we can do that again next year. More money coming in, wages jump again. We bring in higher caliber players to deal, hopefully, with the championship. To me, these sound like healthy figures.
Yeah, they are healthy figures, Mark. I think most major operating companies will also always have a debt, no matter what. As a businessman myself, I hate debt, so I don't like debt. And you saying the growth of the company, you say 125% in 12 months is phenomenal. You know, sorry, 155.
155. Yeah,
is phenomenal for any business. I mean, based on my business, my turnover increases roughly about 25% every year, which I'm more than happy with, which is superb. But not many businesses out there, even in the UK at all, can boast that boost in revenue in one 12-month period. And I think you say that their debt's been reduced, so the club is operating very, very financially sound at the moment. Nothing to worry about. And as you say, Mark, that interest in the club from within the North Wales region and Mid Wales and even over into the borders in England is going to increase as we progress as a team. A lot more people taking notice. I know a lot of people who would still like to go to games and can't get tickets. And globally, there's another series coming out on Netflix this year. So even now, I speak to people who say, "Oh, they went to the first Wrexham game and they've binge watched the whole of the, Welcome to Wrexham series and really got involved in the club." And even today, 3 years later, people are still getting involved with that football club, and that's going to continue. And the turnover is going to continue. Obviously the prices will go up next year, depending on whether we go up to the championship. So that will demand, that bring in extra revenue. But as you said, Mark, players are going to cost more for in the championship next year. So yeah, I mean, there's not many football clubs in our league or any league that I would think could actually boast those kind of figures.
Are you going to tell him, Bill, or shall I?
You go for it, Mark.
It's not on Netflix, Neil.
Sorry, Disney. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
He's not Netflix's Mark Griffiths. Doesn't quite have the same names, is it? Or Amazon. Jeff Bezos is Mark Griffiths.
That's an exciting new reality show coming soon. No, I firstly don't advertise the wrong streaming platform, Neil, because Disney Plus are putting my kids through college, and secondly, it actually struck me the other day that I jokingly, and only one person has actually sent anything to me online thinking I wasn't joking. I jokingly call myself Disney's Mark Griffiths, but it sort of occurred to me that actually, as it's not carried on Disney in the States, an awful lot of the fans must really think, why the hell is he calling himself Disney's Mark Griffiths? I should call myself Hulu's Mark Griffiths when communicating with North Americans, shouldn't I? Ah, well. Yes.
So yeah. All looking rosy on the accounts front within the club. So
yeah, and Netflix is fine anyway, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. We've got the other series, docu-series coming out this season on Disney. Hence why I'm training the next Babe, see, for the next Disney film as well.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? Babe.
They've already seen him wearing a Wrexham shirt.
Sorry?
They've already seen him wearing a Wrexham shirt. He'll be on the pitch before long.
Excellent. Well, sounds promising. Excellent. And then he'll be in the concession stall, won't he? Sorry.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we've probably said enough now. We've frightened some pigs. We've talked about cash. We've done all the things. We've mocked Gareth Ainsworth, which I found very, very satisfying. I've got to be honest. Anything else to add, gentlemen? Would you like to have a pop as a celebrity? Or
Shrewsbury are probably going down, which is fantastic. Sorry, Neil, just throw that in there.
Now another big game coming up this Saturday, guys. Away at Exeter, our longest away game of the season. It's a long old trip down to Exeter, and I think it's a sold out Wrexham allocation yet again.
And they have found form.
They have.
They had a lot of injuries defensively, sort of Christmas and January, and they were conceding at a rate of 3 goals a game. But since then, they brought in new defenders, and they let in, what was it? Hang on a sec. They've had 5 clean sheets in the last 8 matches. Only lost 1 of the last 9. They're
well, you see them, they helped Forest in the FA Cup as well. So
yeah, they're going to be,
very
a tough proposition. But having said that, I mean, you look at our fixtures, and it's no guarantee looking at league positions. In fact, teams fighting for their lives might well be tougher to play against. But the truth is, we've just had back-to-back wins against 2 of our 3 rivals for the permanent promotion spots. And in our last, let's have a look, 6 games in the league.
Briton, Cambridge.
Yeah, but in our last 6, 5 of them have been against teams in the top 8. And in those games, we've got 10 out of 15 points against teams in the top 8. So that's great. And now we have, in theory, well, we've certainly got games, like you say, against teams lower down the table. Charlton and Lincoln, the last 2, and Blackpool, I suppose, borderline, are the only ones in the top half. So hopefully we can crack on and do an efficient job of putting them to bed. Speaking of which, Neil, I'm sure you have a pig to bed down right now.
I certainly do. Got to go and check them, Mark. Make sure they're still alive. That's
the spirit, Neil. Yeah, you feel confidence in your pig husbandry. And
as I said earlier, Mark, when I speak to you offline, it's a new mum, and she's unsure what she's doing at the moment. She stands on them, she lies on them, so you got to be very careful to be there all the time.
Man, it's like Godzilla all over again, and a Pigzilla. That's a title as well. Too many titles, not enough podcasts.
I've got to go and put them to bed now, so I've got to nip up the road. So I'll go, make sure they're all right.
And does that mean to fight a goat or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ghost busting. Yeah, I haven't got any insurance, but I'll be on the blower to all your recommendations later.
Yeah, absolutely right. Remember, Scooby Doo. It's a very comprehensive package. Yeah, trust me. Okay, so there we are, chaps. Another Final Whistle Weekly put to bed. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. So, adios and.
That's a great Scooby-Doo.
Thank you very much. I can impersonate all cartoon dogs. Just saying.